Alright, I think we are finally live. I just spent the last 20-30 minutes trying to get OBS to broadcast at all. So, I'm not gonna mess with it now. The music in the... First of all, it wouldn't be a stream I was doing if I didn't feel the need to tweak the music. Which is much louder in the main menu than it is in the game itself. But I did want... before I go into things, because this is one of those games that once you click start, it like starts going cinematics and stuff like that. Yeah, I bought this several months ago, whenever there was a sale on it, and I still had money to be buying games, but I put it off for a long time because I wasn't sure if it was for me, and I've now since put an embarrassing number of hours into it, and I figured one way to make that a little less embarrassing was to do something intentional, like streaming. Also, I had hoped that maybe some of my friends would see this and realize I was serious that time. I had asked if anyone would want to play multiplayer. So, here we are. Sorry, I'm just going to check that the captions are working because... it's weird about that. Okay, yeah, captions are working. So, I meant to start at 1:30, but we're a little early, so we'll just stop a little early. I don't feel like this is a game that needs any sort of introductions. You either know about it or you are not in gaming spaces. Either way, welcome. I figure that if any of you who have played it are watching, it's because you want to see what choices I make. I feel like that's a healthy curiosity to have, and the kind of thing that... it's the reason to watch someone else play this game, is to see what choices they make and how they rationalize it to themselves and everything. So yeah, hopefully the audio is fine. If not, the captions appear to be working, so we're just going to get into it. The first choice I'm going to make, despite the fact that I'm playing on PC, is... come on. I'm playing with the controller. The second I saw how walking in this game works, I fully intended to play mouse and keyboard, but the second I saw how walking works, I was like, I'm playing with controller, you'll see what I mean. We're going to start a new game. The one that's showing as my current game is actually just one I made earlier today to sort of test that things work. I am going to use a couple of mods, nothing... So I'm playing on GeForce Now right now, which means I'm streaming it, which means I don't have access to all the mods I would like to, but I am going to play with a few. The first that is completely non-negotiable is an arachnophobia mode. The one I usually use turns them into dogs. This one turns them into sheep. So I probably feel a little less sad about fighting with spiders. So yeah, this should be funny. The animations are janky when you're using a replacement model like that, so we should have some fun with that. I am going to play with a mod that puts a rapier on your hip instead of your back, where it belongs. I have this one sort of content mod, visual mod put in because it has a cape that I like. And I'm gonna have all of the camp clothes. This is all in-game stuff. It's just stuff you usually have to wait to Act 3 to get, but I want everyone to look good in camp. So, I have a thing that puts all of that in our camp chest. When I had it installed, I have a lot of other mods on, but I'm probably not gonna mess with any of them, including some that I would need to have it installed on my local machine to use. I am very tempted by the adjustable party limit because in my own playthroughs I have been using that, just because I want to hear all of the party dialogue, and so I will have that so that I can have everyone around all the time and hear all the companions talking to each other and stuff like that. But for now, I'm going to keep things as vanilla as I can tolerate. So yeah, I have those 4 installed. They should make a huge difference. There are some stat things with this set, but they're not going to come into play until later. And they're not that. There are lore reasons as well that we'll get into, but yeah, let's just start. So when I hit new, it's gonna jump right into the opening cutscenes. If you don't know already, this game has blood and gore and doesn't shy away from sort of like some visually upsetting things. So keep that in mind if you. I would say from the top, if you have issues with eye trauma, skip forward, because there is going to be some eye trauma. But yeah. Anyway, let's just get to it. So they have these different modes. Honor mode is sort of the ultimate, the ultimate difficulty mode, and you only get a single save file. It's like an Iron Man. I play on Tactician a lot. That's probably my usual difficulty, just because I've played it a few times. We're gonna start on balance, just because I don't have access to all of my usual tools, and we can adjust that at any time. So if it starts to feel too easy, I can put it up to Tactician, but we're just going to go with regular normal mode to start with. Sorry for the background noise. I was adjusting my chair and I thought I had muted, but I had not. So sorry about those like clicking noises. Do I want to reset tutorials? I can turn them off again later. Let's do it. Let's treat it like I would any other stream, which is to say, yes, we will have the tutorials on. So, there are two options. You can make a custom character, or you can play as one of the quote-unquote origin characters. They are your companion options. Well, some of your companion options. Including this one who we just saw in the preview thing, but I'm going to do a custom character. Since every RPG now has to have a thing where you have like a named custom character, you know, in Avowed it was the Envoy, in Dragon Age Inquisitor it's the Inquisitor, you know, there things like that. It's either a name or a title. This one is Tav is what it started at. You can rename him if you want, but I'm just gonna go with Tav because that's, you know, what everyone has. I am, in the second of my mini choices, actually going to play as a drow, which I was not expecting to be into, but I have gotten very into now. And for the specific build I'm thinking of, this is sort of necessary. The Drow are kind of like evil elves, or in D&D lore, they'll call it like dark elves. Although they're not, they've changed the rules now so that their alignments can be lots of different things. There was a lot of racists got mad, basically. There was a lot of controversy around the changes they made to Drow. But I really like a lot of things about Drow, including the fact that since this is a world where race isn't like humans of different colors, it's like elves and, halflings and things like that. I like the Drow as sort of they're not super well received everywhere they go, let's put it that way. So they live in the Underdark, which is a sort of underground realm, but some of them do spend time on the surface, as we will see. Anyway, so yes, we are going to play as a Drow. With that comes some, like you get like a racial cantrip, which is a lot of the races in this game will have like a special cantrip, or elves can pick one, so you can have like fire or shoot ice or whatever. Drow automatically get dancing lights, I guess, because they live in the dark. And I guess I really don't have to introduce the concept of D&D and proficiencies and stuff like that. But basically, yeah, you have a couple of proficiencies. I'm mostly interested in the rapier one, at least for now. Again, for reasons I will get into. But yeah, we're going to play as a Drow. And the reason that Drow have the bad reputation they do in this world is because they worship an evil goddess who's a spider. Like an actual giant spider. She was an elf, I think, at some point, but then there was some drama with the other elves, and then some ended up down underground and followed her. I'm not going to be a Lothsworn Drow. I'm going to be one of the Seldarine Drow, which is the ones more likely to venture out of the Underdark. They don't worship the mean spider lady. And I have a specific goddess in mind for this character. Again, it's not going to come up until later. Although I guess I can show you. Let's get into class, because I'm going to do a multi-class build. That's built primarily around swords, like swords magic, and being a fencer and fancy and good with swords. And the reason for that is that let's pretend as if for now I am building cleric. I'm actually gonna do a bard, but we are eventually gonna multi-class in cleric. But let me show you why. So were I to build a cleric, oh wait, class, cleric. I hit the wrong forward button. Subclass. It doesn't really matter. I really like the Death Domain Cleric because you get to do cool necromancy stuff. I haven't made my decision up. The thing I think for lore reasons that makes the most sense is Light or Life. But for the deity, when we do eventually take our cleric level, we are going to be a worshipper of Illustrae, goddess of good aligned drow, beauty, song, and freedom. The Dark Maiden desires balance between all races and struggles against her mother Lolth's corrupt aims. So Illustrae is the daughter of Lolth and another elven deity. And when there was the big split that happened, Illustrae went to the Underdark with the rest of the drow, as they're now called, the Dark Elves, because she believed that they could be redeemed. And so her followers are kind of like outcasts in drow society, which is very regimented and class-focused and dangerous. So the more free-spirited drow tend to gravitate towards Illustrae. And so when we do take our cleric level, that's the goddess we're going to be sworn to. But we are going to start as a bard, because the bards have a subclass all about being good at swords and swashbuckly. So that's what we're going to start with. They start out with really silly clothes, but we can do something about that, although Unfortunately, I will not be able to. My favorite outfit that goes with this sort of character build with the lore stuff is a mod that I can't access unless I download the game again. And I may break down and do that at some point, but for now, I uninstalled it because my computer, I needed space basically, and it's a very large game. And it works well enough in GeForce now. But yeah, anyway, we're going to start as a bard with the horrible bard outfit, whatever. Let's pick our cantrips. We already have our racial cantrip, which is the dancing lights. For our class cantrips, we are going to take vicious mockery, which sort of fits with the bard thing of being, you know, good with words and stuff like that. It does psychic damage and gives creature disadvantage on its next attack, so it's handy. Bards are... I actually, in D&D proper, never played a real bard. It just didn't jump out at me in the way that I tend to play in actual D&D. I tend to play clerics. I think because of the person that I am and how I like to help, but also protect. So I tend to gravitate towards clerics. I have played a monk before in a shorter campaign, but I think I'm a cleric at heart. I think the other thing that makes sense for Bard is friends. Gain charisma on, give advantage on charisma checks against non-hostile creatures. You do want to be careful about using this because people can realize that they've been charmed and they don't like that, understandably. So yeah, we're going to start with those two. And for my bard spells, I'm going to keep Healing Word, I'm going to keep Dissonant Whispers, which I really like, and can insta-kill, at least early in the game. I don't know about Tasha's hitting this laughter. I'm going to get rid of Heroism for now and take Thunder Wave, which I love. It's a spell. Anytime I play a spellcaster who has access to Thunder Wave, I take it. And one thing about Eilish is that she is also really connected with nature, so Speak with Animals makes sense, I think. Featherfall could be a useful sort of utility spell to have handy, especially if I don't get the, I don't break down and install the larger party size mod, because it makes certain things easier. Because you don't take fall damage, you can just jump off of stuff. Charm Person will give you an advantage in checks and do things, and protect you in combat from like a certain enemy. You can have them not attack you, but it takes a spell slot, and we do not have many of those right now. I think for the sake of lore, I'm going to take Speak with Animals for the time being. We can swap these spells out at any time, which is not true of every class, but bards, clerics, wizards... I think it might just be bards, clerics, and wizards. I don't know about paladins. Doesn't matter. Don't get caught in the weeds. So yeah, we are going to take those four. And for my instrument, it doesn't really matter, but for lore reasons, if you're playing someone who's aligned with Eilish, you would want the drum, the flute, or the lyre. I like the flute, and not just because that's one of the only instruments IRL I can play. I like it, and it's unobtrusive, and it doesn't look as silly during... Because this is what you're using for your spell casting as a bard. When you cast bard spells, you use your instrument. And it doesn't look quite as silly as some of the other things. So, yeah, we'll do flute. Whoops, I keep hitting the wrong thing. For background, like traditional D&D stuff, you can, pick a background. I am tempted, I'm not gonna lie, I am tempted by one of the Origin characters, which is the Dark Urge. You can customize this, but You remember nothing but a path paved with blood. Unimaginable cruelty whispers to you from within. Can you escape it? Would you even want to? Yeah, you're an origin character, so you have kind of a set path in certain ways, but you can, make yourself any race and class you want. This is just sort of the default one that they have, and it has some really interesting, story implications. But I think just for, you know, starting. Oh, it reset everything. Oh, God damn it. Okay. Let's switch back. Race. Drow. Subrace. Cylindrine. Seldarine, whatever it is. Bard. Cantrips. Spells. What did I say? Speak with animals and Thunderwave. Flute. Okay, so my background, I could be an acolyte, which is good if you're playing a monk or certain clerics because of, your proficiency in insight and religion. Charlatan can be fun. Criminal in some ways makes sense for a drow that doesn't worship Lolth. And I feel like I've done that before. This is a game that very few people finish, or they certainly don't finish it as many times as they start it. For me, the main problem is that I get an idea for a new build, and you can respec your characters, but it's not the same. I sort of bond with a character who is a certain way, right? And, if I respec, a cleric into a sorcerer, it doesn't feel like the same person anymore. So what I end up doing is like, okay, I'll just make I'll play a new character, Okay, so obviously entertainer makes a lot of sense for a bard, but I've seen some people, especially for an Isle Stray character, make an argument in terms of folk hero. Challenging tyrants and monsters to protect the helpless is very much in line with being against Lolth. Noble in some ways makes sense for a drow because of how stratified society is in the Underdark, but it makes less sense for an Isle Stray drow, unless they're like an outcast and leaning into them being an outcast. Outlander in some ways makes sense because you're growing up away from civilization. Sage is, educated soldier. And Urchin. I do like Urchin. The very first time I played a half-elf warlock, which I never played a warlock in anything before. I played a half-elf warlock / rogue. I took a few rogue levels, and had the Urchin background. And it was fun. The things that basically your background determines where you gain inspiration points, and the things you gain inspiration from as an urchin are often cute. They're often, you were nice to a kid, you met a cool animal that was like the urchin likes meeting cats, because cats sort of fit that same sort of like scrappy, they especially like meeting street cats. Yeah, I vibe with that background. For this, I'm trying to think. Like I said, Outlander makes sense. Entertainer is a little obvious, but definitely makes sense. I like Criminal in theory, but in practice, some of the inspiration stuff you gain is not, it's not as logical. I think I'm gonna go with Urchin just because I like Urchin. And what is the point of streaming this game instead of just doing another replay on my own if I'm not gonna do some things that are more, I'm not just gonna like follow my gut, So I'm gonna go with Urchin. You could argue that an Isle Stray and Drow would have a bleak childhood potentially, and having to learn to have street smarts, and that fits also with the Bard background because Bard is a charisma based. Like, your spells are based in your charisma, and so that kind of fits, I think. So yeah, we can adjust all of these things, but we have charisma and dexterity as our proficiencies. I don't want a malice on anything, so part of me is very tempted to take those 2 points from intelligence and put them into strength, just because it makes certain things easier. But yeah, and then I could have that I could be sort of well-rounded. I think I actually am going to do that. There are arguments in favor of other things, but I think as starting with a I can't put that in Constitution. Okay, so yeah, I will put it in Intelligence, and then I just won't have any malices, and that'll make my life a little easier. And skills, we're gonna put. They start with them in, let's see, in Persuasion, Performance, and Deception. Deception is handy, especially when you're a drow. I want something in Acrobatics, because it keeps you from being shoved, and some opponents really like trying to shove you off of stuff. Persuasion makes sense. I mean, Performance makes sense, but you don't use it nearly as much as, at least for now, warrants putting any proficiency in it. So, yeah, I think I'm going to keep just Persuasion, Deception, and Acrobatics. And now we're going to go to the Appearance. You can randomize, but you get some really janky stuff. I have a voice I like.
What was that?
For the urchins.
Hells. Something just woke up down here.
It's opened.
There's magic keeping this chest sealed. I can feel its...
More of those.
There's magic keeping this chest sealed. I can feel its aura.
It's a very London, sort of... That sort of fits the class background.
What was that?
I do like that one, but it feels a little...
Well, it's opened. I wonder what's back there.
So one thing about drow is that people often assume that all of them are stuck up. And it also kind of makes sense that they would talk a little differently than maybe would be expected on the surface. So let's go with that voice. I'm going to start with skin color and then do faces. So when you are changing your character's skin color, you can have access to all of them. Or if you want like a race related skin color, you can just leave that blank. The drow in D&D lore are almost entirely dark skinned with very light hair. So we're gonna stick with that. There is a group of albino drow that just look kind of like weird elves basically, and are often used to spy on the surface. We're not getting into anything like that. So let's see. Is it I think it's the ash tones I like. So yeah, their skin is dark. It's known for being like very dark, like blackish almost, but also purpley, like blue purple undertones. I like that these are named for like nature things: dusk, lichen, ash. There's also like ice eventually, I think. Yeah, there's like ice tones. And you do meet a handful of drow in this game, so you can kind of see what they do with the different things. I think I like the ash tones, though. Let's start with that, and then when I pick a face, we'll go from there. So, there are not many head presets in this game, unfortunately. So a lot of the mods have to do with that, and I'm used to playing with access to those, but we're gonna just try to keep things relatively vanilla here, so I need to stop doing that. And I will say, even amongst the modded heads that are available, most of them are white people, or like have features that correspond to what we think of as white people. There are very few that are, So, I have a complicated relationship with this particular face because of an NPC that shows up later in the game. But fuck it, I want to try to redeem this face. So we're gonna use this, especially because it's one of only two sort of quote-unquote black-looking, black-featured faces. I know that's very simplistic, especially in a game where race means something completely different, but we're gonna go with that, and I'm just gonna make it work. Okay, I like freckles, as I feel like I definitely talked about in, Avowed, how I've always wished I had more freckles than I do. So I'm going to include some freckles. I think it also makes sense for a drow who's spending time on the surface to have freckles. Like, they're not used to the sun, and so, you know, over time, the sun has left a mark on them. Yeah, you can have vitiligo, have some scarring, you can change some genital things, which we are not going to do, but, that is an option. Let's look at eye colors. I think I want slightly darker. Okay, yeah, let's go with that gray. So again, the eye color thing is the same as the skin color thing, where they have, you know, things people tend to associate with your race, and then you can also just choose any you want. You could make a drow that just looks like a regular elf. We're not going to mess with heterochromia. I am going to give her a tattoo that is related to, or at least could be argued to be related to, the class stuff we're going to do later. It's a sword, just like a nice little sword tattoo on her throat that we'll be able to see more of when we get access to some better clothes. Let's see, no piercings. Most of the piercings look kind of silly. Oh yeah, let's change the eye makeup to something a little less dramatic, I think. So was it this we had? No, it was this one. Or no, it wasn't. It was something much heavier. I just want... Okay, we'll go with that for now. And hairstyle. Again, I'm used to having access to more hairstyles when it comes to this because of mods, but I think I know which one I want. Let's see how it looks with this particular head. Okay, I like this braid because it moves in a nice way. It bounces like a braid actually would, and yeah, I will go with that. It looks, it's practical for someone who's going to be, you know, swinging a sword around, and not, you know, fussy, but it also looks good in game. It gave me some brown highlights. I don't know about that. Let's see. So yeah, the drow are known for having very light colored hair, but I kind of don't hate going more gray than white. Although I suppose if I mess with the highlights... Let's go look at all highlight colors. Anything's better than that brown was, basically. Okay, highlight intensity, and then you can have some graying if you want. There's also some issues with the color, the black hair color in this game that there's a good mod for, but since we're playing a drow, another benefit of playing a drow is that that's not a, it's not an issue. So yes, I think we are good. I'm just gonna double check some of the choices I made, make sure my cantrips are what I want, and my spells. Flute, urchin, okay, dex, and part of me wants to do that instead. Or, no, I'll leave it like that, because I'm going to want the dexterity later. Yeah, we'll leave that. Acrobatics, and then it should be persuasion. Yes, deception, persuasion. And we've got our appearance. Okay. So yeah, it's auto set to Tav. Next we have to choose a guardian, which is kind of a weird thing for a character creator.
You need a guardian. Choose one.
It makes sense for us to have a drow guardian, I think, because we'll trust them, so we'll just leave the default guardian on, and let's venture forth, finally, after... Wow! I did not mean to spend this long on character creation. We started about... But we basically spent like a half hour of... I normally stream for 2 hours. I mean, we've spent a half hour on character creation, which I did not mean to do, but here we are. Anyway, more cutscene stuff.
My head.
Okay, so we are officially through that cutscene that was so long that GeForce Now thought that I was inactive. Okay, so when you use the controller, you can move like you would expect to with the controller. When you use the mouse, there is no WASD movement. That only moves the camera. You have to click where you're going.
Looking ahead.
And the second I realized that, I plugged my controller in. I was like, no, that's not how I want to play a game. And honestly, some people, like, people can have their preferences, whatever, prefer what you prefer, but some people really complain about the controller because some things are clunky, like your abilities and stuff, but you get used to it. You can remap all of these radials with very little trouble. So, that's what I do. Speaking of which, since we're in here, let's just do a tiny bit of putting things where I usually put them. I tend to keep spells that are less combat related off of my primary radial thingy here, but I'm gonna have, as I unlock more stuff, I'm gonna have to rearrange it. But you do that with your hotbar with the keyboard, so you know what's different. So anyway, yeah, a lot has happened. We, like so many other people, were pulled onto this weird fleshy ship and presumably had a worm of some kind inserted into our brain through our eye in that horrible opening cutscene. And in this world, everyone kind of knows what that means, so, you know, there's no need of being coy. This is a ship run by mind flayers, which are a big deal, as that name would apply in this world.
Dead. Good.
This is the pool that thing came from. The parasite now writhing behind your eye.
Okay, skill checks. You have to use a dice roll. So this is them leaning into the D&D of it all. I am going to switch to the golden dice because I have completed a playthrough in honor mode, which means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things, but it was a headache, and I wanted to do it as an achievement hunter, and so I did it, and that means I get to use the golden dice, which can be nothing. Alright. If there were modifiers I could add to things, they would have shown up and I could have added them or not. Some you can do on every roll, some require a spell slot, so you want to be careful when choosing those modifiers. But anyway.
The casing is fragile. The slightest touch could cause it to crumble.
I don't want to reach toward it. If Thunderwave didn't require a spell slot, I would absolutely Thunderwave it. Let's destroy it. Oops, shit. So I actually forgot that happens because I don't usually do that. That's exactly what you expect a developer to do. Both to not punish you, but to sort of be like, haha, we got you, but also to introduce game mechanics like
Odd. I feel better.
healing in general, but also these restoration pods in particular, which are unique to Mind Flayer stuff, but they're handy here for tutorial reasons. Let's open the sphincter. Ugh. I didn't like living ships on when I watched Battlestar Galactica, and I don't like them now. This is even grosser than the Cylon ship, though. And then my Loot Goblin tendencies being what they are, I will check everything. Well, I'll try to check less stuff. One thing I do want to do is go up here, though. It's a neural apparatus, which leads to an elevator, because we have some help to enlist under operation.
You've come to save us from this place. From this place you'll free us.
The exposed brain quivers in expectation.
Please. Before they return. They return.
Who am I talking to, a man or a brain?
A newborn. Born new from this husk.
You realize you're talking to an intellect devourer, a minion of the mind flayers who abducted you.
The very, very first time I played this, I did destroy the brain because that felt like what my character would do. It felt like she was disgusted, and it didn't feel like a good idea to, you know, help anything affiliated with the mind flayers. If I was being intellectually honest, I wouldn't help it, but I'm going to because it will make things that are coming up a little easier. I think you're past the point of saving. Tell me what to do.
Remove us from this body. From this case. Free us. Please.
Okay. Since we have dexterity, let's gently prise the brain from the skull. Or try to, anyway. That's the plan. So yeah, we get an automatic bonus because of our dexterity modifier. But, yeah, let's hope we don't roll below an 8. Okay. Sorry.
The brain lifts from the skull, but you notice an opportunity. You could cripple the strange creature, making it more subservient, should it prove a threat.
I'm not going to. Any injuries might weaken it. Now this is upsetting.
Free. Our freedom is ours, friend.
The creature pauses, listening. Something behind your eyes seizes in recognition.
We must go to the helm. At the helm, we are needed.
Alright, let's go.
To the helm we go. We are going to the helm.
Okay, followers, they temporarily join us, including a brain that is just called us. But who has far and away the highest amount of health of anyone that we're going to be allying with. Before we do that, I'm going to get my flute off my back. So this is the inventory screen, which I think is less busy and overwhelming when you're playing with a controller than on mouse and keyboard, but you know. Right now I don't have a melee weapon, I only have this hand crossbow. But eventually I'll get a melee weapon. There are those dragons who were trying to destroy the ship.
Abomination. This is your end.
Your head throbs and your skin tingles. Visions rush past. A dragon's wing, a silver sword, and a flash of your face seen through the strange woman's eyes.
Oh, my head. What is this? Skvar, you are no thrall. Vlaakith blesses me this day. Together, we might survive.
Who are you?
Who am I? Your only chance of survival.
What made you think I was a thrall? No, we need to figure out where we are.
We can do nothing until we escape. That must be our priority. First, we exterminate the imps. Then we find the helm and take control of the ship.
A
As for that thing, it will remain tame as long as it believes we are thralls. It may be of use in the fight to come.
Alright, so we got turn-based combat, which isn't something I love in every game, but I appreciate it in some. Before I do anything, I'm gonna see, does this... no, melee weapon. Fine, I will not waste a spell slot here. This is very much a tutorial fight. We'll just use my hand crossbow. Oh, nice! And then Us will use its claws on the end here. Nice. Well done, Us. And then Lae'zel, with her big old sword, doesn't quite have enough movement.
No time to waste.
So we will use her bow. Okay. And then the imp gets a turn. And misses. And so we should probably be able to finish it off. Unless we miss. No, okay.
You prove surprisingly adequate in battle. Now, to the helm.
Okay, first, but I have to loot. Okay, there's a scimitar. Which I am proficient in. There's an axe. This is all handy because I don't have melee weapons, but, I guess I could have used a spell slot because there's one of those, pods, but oh well. The pods basically do the equivalent of a long rest, so you get all your spell slots back, which is handy for a, tutorial fight. Okay. Since Lae'zel is in our party, we can control her gear. I'm going to give her one of these, crossbows that do more damage than the short bow.
Never a dull moment.
Alright. And we're gonna continue. We could have healed if we needed to, but we don't.
Ship won't be able to take another dragon attack. We need to get out before it's too late.
So when you play as a bard, this corpse has a rapier on it. But only if you play as a bard, so that's a quick fact. I also really like dual scimitars, but for now we'll use the rapier. With this build I have a really hard time. Lore-wise, you would want to use a single longsword, but I really love the attack animations of fighting with two, and the person who loves playing rogues in video games in me likes dual wielding. But we'll see. We'll see how much I can commit. Another sphincter.
Ghaik machinery. I can make no sense of it.
Alright. So one thing that is really handy when you're playing with the controller, as opposed to with mouse, is that you have this thing where you can highlight everything and then pick certain things.
Annihilate.
Got some
Can't read
buttons
the
here.
script. Another mystery.
I can only read one of them. In pursuit of XP, I am going to, it added stuff already to my, because I have, okay, so I have a melee weapon now, so I'll put that there where I'm used to it being, and for the sake of XP, these people are a lost cause. They will attack you if you try to wake them up or anything, so I'm just going to grab some XP. I also have gotten used to playing with XP mods on, so you level up a little faster, get your gear, but I don't have any of those on right now. We'll see how it goes later.
You! Get me out of this damn thing!
We have no time for stragglers.
The construction is too alien. Nothing looks familiar.
This ship is crashing. Do you intend to die for a strange?
So certain races have certain dialogue choices available that are obviously racially dependent. I'm not going to say that. I'll look around.
Try that contraption next to the pod. Hurry!
The console appears dormant. The mechanisms are completely unrecognizable at first, but then you spy an empty socket.
Okay, so we need something to put in the socket.
Whatever fits in that socket must power this thing.
Huh, did I not enable that? I'm gonna have to check on that. I thought I had enabled the hip mod. The hip sheathing rapier mod. Okay, there's another scimitar. I do... Oops, that's not what I meant to do. Wrong game, actually. I do really like the dual scimitars. Like, the rapier does more damage. Oh, I'm not proficient yet. Okay, so we're gonna stick with the rapier for now. But
How many hosts of these gay infected?
when I am proficient, I will switch. There's a chest that has some free health potions. You can grab that brain for a cool interaction
This
later.
might unlock those
Much later in the
controls
game.
next to the pod.
But we're just here to free that person from the pod. There's no freeing this person, and the only button available is transform, which makes them into a mind flayer, which we do not want. So let's free
The
Shadowheart.
console appears dormant.
Insert the rune.
The console hums to life. Suddenly, you feel a hideous squirming in your head. A parasite. Then discomfort fades, and another sensation washes over you. Connection. Authority.
Will the pod to open. No! Fuck! And I don't have any inspiration.
Feel the biomechanical brain of the console process your command and reject it.
Shit. Okay. If I had strength, I think I could break that open. But you know who does have strength? Is Lae'zel. Let's see if she can. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna save. I'm gonna try very hard if I continue to stream this not to save scum too much. But there are a couple of things that I don't want to fuck up, and one of them is not being able to recruit certain companions. So let's see. Toughness. Okay. Need to deal a lot of damage at once. Ah, fucking hell.
No one back home will ever believe this.
I wonder what could happen if...
Blackets will be done.
Let's pick this... Yeah, let's pick that up. I do not have a fire... access to a fire cantrip or anything right now. That would really come in handy, but... maybe... Enemy path is interrupted. There we go. Okay. I'm pretty sure that's explosive, but I don't know if I have the means to explode it. Okay, that's acidic, and that's sharp. Let me look at my spell book. Oh, okay, bard spells can only be changed to level up. I thought, for some reason, wow, okay. Fuck. Okay. Me. I'm not gonna save scum. Also me. Fucking save scums. Although I think it's probably the wrong time. I think I saved too late. Because I've never not freed Shadowheart. Let's see if Lae'zel can do it.
The console hums steadily, awaiting command.
Place your hand on it again. Will it to open. Okay. This is much
You feel the
better.
biomechanical brain of the console process your command and yield to it. A shiver runs across.
Alright, now she's out. Okay.
At last.
Have a lot on my mind.
That was a lot simpler than trying to explode it.
I thought that damn thing was going to be my coffin. Thank you.
Your mind lurches into her thoughts. Her gratitude is mixed with wariness, because you have a Gith with you.
You keep dangerous company.
Dangerous company is what you need in a fight.
Fair point. Looks like there's plenty of fighting ahead. Let me come with you. We can get off this ship and watch each other's backs along the way.
Alright then, let's get going.
Shadowheart. One moment. It's nothing. Trust me.
Enough of this chatter. We need to get to the helm. Now.
She's right. Lead on.
I'm still gonna pick this up because it's useful later. Hopefully... I can't throw it, but maybe Shadowheart is strong enough to throw it? Let's put it in. Both her and Lae'zel have significantly more strength than me. While I'm in my inventory, let's also send her this crossbow because she doesn't have a ranged weapon. And in what has become something of a meme with Shadowheart, we're going to want her to have a ranged weapon. She also has this shitty mace, but I don't think it does... Yeah, it does the same damage as the axe, so there's no need to switch that. Can she wield a short sword? Let's find out.
Whatever comes.
And she won't be doing loads of melee, probably, especially not at the beginning. She's a cleric. Oh, she's not proficient. Never mind.
Looking ahead.
Yeah, so Shadowheart is a cleric, which is a class I'm most familiar with and usually play. I've only done one Shadowheart origin, though, and I didn't finish it yet. It's still in my save files. I picked up a key, so let's open this chest for some basic stuff. Everyone's health is good. And yes, we still have all our slots. Oh, one thing I want to do before I forget is
Protects me.
with Shadowheart, I want to go into her spellbook, and I want to change something. Clerics, like I said, can change at any time. Well, not in real D&D. It's after every long rest, basically once a day. You can change your spells. In Baldur's Gate, you can do it whenever, and as long as you haven't exhausted all your spell slots and stuff, you can continue to use them. I'm going to give her a spell called Command, which is very handy early on for survivability reasons, and because we are going to try
despite everything.
to get Lae'zel a very cool weapon if we can. And there's a way to do it that Command helps with.
We're nearing the helm. Once inside, do as I say. Who put you in charge? I'll trust my own judgment.
Cane yank.
Alright, so again, I'm going to make a save. I'm going to try not to save scum. But, yes, we're going to try to steal a really cool weapon off of one of the enemies we're about to have to fight, and Shadowheart's command spell is a good way to do that without having to kill them. So yeah, mind flayers. Weird silver blood.
Thrall, connect the nerves of the transponder. We must escape. Now.
Do it. We will deal with the Geich after we escape.
Connect the nerves. Nerves! We will connect them.
So yeah, it's an organic ship. So yeah, when the ship was, traveling through time and space, it went into it switched planes and went into Avernus, which is the top level of hell in this world. There are 9 hells, and Avernus is one of them. My controller's being weird. I'm going to have us use the claws. There we go. So we have 15 turns, which is going to seem super urgent, but we can get to. Especially on this difficulty, we should be able to get to without loads of trouble.
We need to get out of here, now.
Okay, I, with my sword, am going to...
Death won't take me yet.
Hopefully I can one-shot it. No, I missed! I completely missed! Okay, cool. I'm gonna move Bardic Inspiration off of this bar, because I don't actually use it loads. When I play a Bard, I'm not really playing them as a support class, which is funny because that's sort of like one of their main things, is to be a support class. It's one of the things that they're very good at. But that's not really the way that I play them. Whoops. I was trying to put Thunder Wave somewhere else, and I got distracted. There we go. I mostly use them as like party face and swashbuckler when I play a Bard. But yeah, they're usually a support class in other cases. Anyway, I'm going to use this Flourish, which I can use once I rest, which knocks them off balance, which means disadvantage on strength and dexterity, and advantage against it. Alright. So, in my turn, here comes this imp. Do what you want. Oh. You shot me. So one thing I think you can tell from the way that the camera moves, especially in combat, is Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 were more like isometric. This is them sort of trying to thread the needle between, you know, what the looks that modern players are looking for and more sort of like traditional isometric vibes of usual Baldur's Gate games. I know I said Shadowheart wasn't going to be doing loads of melee, but I think now is probably time. I don't want to use her spell slots until I get close to that. Let me show you. This guy here, Commander Zalk, has a massive health bar. We have no hope of depleting, even on the lower difficulty that we're on, but we want his sword. And she has a spell called Command, and one of the commands you can do is for people to drop their weapon. And we can just reach him, but nobody's there to pick it up, and I don't want him to pick it back up. So we're not going to do that yet. Instead, we're actually going to have Shadowheart do some good old-fashioned melee. Oh, she actually killed it. Nice. Well done, Shadowheart. I don't think there's any loot in any of these hell creatures, except maybe like some... The imps might have like melee weapons.
Swift and lethal.
Alright, Lae'zel, you are way behind in the initiative order, so
move.
let's just try to get you forward. We'll use her action. You get an action and a bonus action a la D&D. We're just going to move her forward as much as we can so that she can pick up the weapon. It is for her, after all. It does damage, and fire damage. And for the first act, at least, fire damage will be useful. Okay, I can't reach that, so we'll just go there. The Mind Flayer almost always dies.
Swift as my feet can carry me.
So usually, if I was playing on a harder difficulty, I don't even think I would worry about the sword. I would just be trying to get to this transponder, because there are more enemies coming, and it's very easy to die. I have party wiped in this tutorial area when playing on a higher difficulty. I'm gonna keep Dissonant Whispers, because I don't think I get my spell slots back until we have a long rest. Yeah. So... I could move forward some more. Let's do that. So... that if Lae'zel can't get the sword, I can. And I will go ahead and take a health potion. You know, my health is in the single digits, but here we are. Anyway, here comes the imp. They missed me that time. Alright, Shadowheart.
On I go.
Please. Shadowheart has something of a reputation for missing. Especially with Sacred Flame. It's not her fault. Sacred Flame is one of those cleric... As someone who has played clerics, I'm familiar with its unreliability, let's call it. It's very useful when you're fighting enemies that are weak to radiant damage. I can't remember if devils are. This one isn't. I mean, he'll take damage from it. He's not resistant to radiant damage the way he is with so many other kinds, but he's not weak to it either. But the thing about Sacred Flame is that people hit by it have the chance to roll a save against it, and that's not true of a lot of other attacks. And so there's sort of a meme that Shadowheart can't aim. But we're not going to do that. We are going to try to use her command and get him to grovel, makes them like drop to the ground and freeze. And then they have to use a bunch of their movement in their next turn to get back up. So that can be handy. But we are going to try to get him to drop. He's got high defense, but let's just give it a let's hope. Yes, okay, it's dropped. Nice. So we need to get it before he has time to pick it back up. So we're going to send Lae'zel up here to steal it. Nice. Okay. So she has it now. We can equip it. You can use your action to... She has a long sword now, but this is the Everburn Blade is a great sword, so it does significantly more damage and does fire damage on top of its regular slashing damage. So we'll use her action to equip it. Why not? It's not going to be useful against these guys because they're from hell, but still, we have it now, and they can't take it away from us. So now all he can do is punch, which is handy. Thank you, us.
Leave him to me. Connect the transponder.
Oh, you're so useless.
We must take the transponder.
Another step forward.
Hurry, before they strike.
Alright, yep. Here's some more enemies. Let's just try to use as much of my movement as I can. They're probably going to attack me as the closest thing, but
Can't afford to let up.
I will live. Hopefully.
Have to keep going.
I meant that figuratively, not literally. Alright, let's see. Can we land a Sacred Flame? Will Shadowheart hit? Nope. Because it's saved. That's the thing. They can roll a save, and because of that, and because lots of other attacks aren't things that can be easily saved against, you know, she's got this reputation of not being able to hit. Anyway, we are... Now that, since we're not engaged with him, Lae'zel can just
Make way.
run. If she was engaged, she would have had to take an opportunity attack. Let's see if Lae'zel can hit. Okay. It's not dead yet, but it's close.
Kill them, or your spine is mine.
Okay, us, you want to keep carrying the team?
If this ship hits the ground, we're dead.
Yeah, we've got 12 turns. I think we're fine. Can I make this as a jump? So yeah, you can use your action to jump. I'm trying to jump in a way that doesn't provoke attack of opportunity. Because I want to get past these guys without them being able to hit me. So, we'll jump.
Damn these imps. I need to reach the transponder.
Let's go for a little XP, maybe. Nope, he dodged it. Alright. Now, Can I reach it? Not quite. You kind of, sometimes they will give you a little bit of extra, I've noticed, having restarted this game a lot, that they'll give you a little bit of extra movement in your normal movement if you're close, but not quite, if you wouldn't normally make it, but maybe because I was using bonus action movement, it didn't work. Anyway, we're close, so next turn we should definitely be able to attach the transponder. Alright.
On the move.
Will Shadowheart hit? Let's find out. Alright. Cool. When enemies die from radiant damage, it always looks really cool, which sounds a little morbid, but, you know, video games. Alright, so Lae'zel also has this pretty... She has hops. As a strength-based character, because strength is what determines your jumping distance, at least in here. I can't remember if it's the case in regular old D&D, but yeah, she has hops. And the Githyanki have special racial abilities. I don't know if we have it unlocked yet. No, we don't have it unlocked yet, but she has basically the equivalent of spell that gives them a very silly amount of jump distance. But that's fine. We didn't use it this time. Well done, Lae'zel. Oof. Alright. This turn I should be able to get us off the ship, basically. Since the Mind Flayer is useless. Alright.
The helm's alien transponder. You've made it in time. As you wake, the tadpole squirms in your skull.
Check yourself for
Other than
injuries.
the infection, you're more or less intact. A miracle, given everything you've been through. But it'll all be for nothing if you don't find help soon. The tadpole is a death sentence, and the clock is ticking. You need cure.
All right. Apologies for the juddering there. My internet decided that during a cutscene would be a great time to start sputtering in a way that it hadn't been before. So yes, we have landed on a beach. We're covered in blood, so I'm gonna just like walk into the water, because if you gain the wet status, it will remove the blood from your character, which makes sense. There are also bars of soap in-game that you can find or buy that will clean the blood off of your character. So, yeah, I didn't really spend much time on the inventory screen before. It also shows you stuff about your stats, which is neat. We don't really have loads to show for now. Oh, there's Shadowheart. The not-so-subtle D20 that they've sort of written into the game, in a way. Let's just wake her up. Don't need to steal from her.
You're alive. I'm alive. How is this possible?
Doesn't matter. We made
True.
it.
Seems like we're the lucky ones, judging by all the corpses strewn about. I remember the ship. I remember falling. Then nothing.
Do you have any idea where we are?
No. I don't recognize this place. But anything's an improvement on where we just came from. First things first. We need supplies, shelter, and most of all, a healer. We might have escaped, but we still have these little monsters in our heads.
We?
We need each other. And we both know what's at stake. Can't think of better company.
Alright, let's get moving.
One thing. Just before we go. I wanted to thank you again. For freeing me. It would have been all too easy for you to run right past my pod. But you didn't. I'll remember that.
Shadowheart
Lead the way.
approves. Okay. There's just some dye they gave everybody. That is telling me is in my camp chest. I'm much more interested in the clothes I'm going to find in my camp chest because of that mod. Let me make a save here. Because one thing I actually do really want to check is that I have mods enabled. Because if I'm specifically that rapier mod, which I know for a fact works. At least it used to work when I had the game downloaded. Doesn't appear to be working right now. So I want to check on it. Oh, none of my mods are enabled. Ashley. Fuck's sake. It's a good thing there were no spiders. Alright. Anyway. That's done. Yes. I had wondered why the mod verification screen hadn't come up. It's because I hadn't enabled any mods. Anyway. At least that's figured out now. Wow. Time is... I guess when you spend over a half hour on character creation, time gets away from you. I had wanted to be a little further in before I called the stream. Ooh, Mitch McConnell's in the hospital. Sorry, I just picked up my phone. Let's get your claw machine memes ready. Knock on wood, etc. That man will outlive us all. And his aides will weekend at Bernie's him around.
Fresh water. There must be a settlement somewhere nearby.
Okay, now it's trying to tell me about highlighting items. I know. I probably should turn the tutorials off. So yeah, there's alchemy. You can make potions, and you find ingredients out in the world. You can also buy them, and you unlock the recipe when you find a certain ingredient. I know there's some fish here, because you need supplies to do a long rest. On this difficulty, it shouldn't be too bad trying to stay ahead of that. You need twice as many supplies in honor mode, and I think in tactician too. Yeah, this guy has a letter to someone. I'm not gonna... Normally I would read all of the stuff, but this game is just so big that I'm not gonna... Like, some of the stuff is like flavor and can be interesting, and some of it is not. I'm just gonna grab... I might read some things, but it'll be the things that seem interesting. What's really funny, picking up that rope reminded me, having played so much D&D, and knowing that every character gets 50 feet of hempen rope, to the point that it's kind of like a joke. I carried around the rope I found in the world for way too long, thinking it was going to have a use. And then eventually, when I realized I had loads and loads of it, I was like, okay, maybe you aren't going to get to use this, and I haven't. I think it's just one of those junk items they put in a game so that they're not just giving you gold. Yes, I have a waypoint. Only one, but it's here. The way this map is laid out, we are going to have to do another fight very shortly. But that should get us to level 2. Yeah, we don't have anywhere we can go except into this fight. Which is against more intellect devourers. That's fine. I made a save.
More of those wretched things.
Yeah, there it goes, scurrying away. And I think I gave Shadowheart one of the, Can I really not throw this? When I was picking it up, it said can't throw, which... I'm gonna take it and see if I can throw it, because I have an idea. I have a strategy in mind. I'm also going to go into turn-based mode, which is something you can do even if you're not in combat. If there are like environmental things, if there are traps you need to pass by or enemies you're trying to avoid, things like that, you can go into turn-based mode. It's also useful for setting things up before combat is initiated. So I'm gonna jump up here. One reason I'm doing it is that... Okay, so I want to be up there.
I wonder what the next move is.
If you just jump up there without going into turn-based mode, Shadowheart runs around and ends up in combat by herself first, and is triggering the fight before you are ready to, and it's much better to do it this way. So yeah, that's the environment taking its turn, which is when all of the stuff moves again, if it's going to move, or if there's a trap that you're avoiding. Okay, let's leave turn-based mode, go back to me, and now we are in combat, and we have the high ground, which is why I wanted to jump up like that. Nope. Okay.
Better stay back. One strike could be lethal.
I was hoping that I could... It's basically, the thing I have that I was wanting to throw, this not only tank, this stuff is flammable, and if I can throw it, then Shadowheart can light it on fire. But it appears too heavy. Damn. Okay. She can't light it on fire. I could Thunderwave this guy back. let's do it. Buy some more time. Alright. And I don't have a bonus action, so I will just get back up here. And this one will come. Okay. Now they're all close to each other. I could have Shadowheart throw the thing, but that's going to use her action. Maybe we'll do it anyway. Yeah. We'll have her throw it at one of them. Maybe she can... The inventory can be weird when you're trying to do stuff in combat. So some things will show up. Place in world. Huh. Why did it show up as... It showed up in my throwables menu as Tav, but I couldn't throw it. Now it's in... Oh wait, it's back in Tav's inventory. That's why. I didn't realize that usually Tav's inventory is at the top no matter what. At least I think so. Now let's see. Throw. Alright, we'll do this way. I didn't know it combusted on its own! Nice! I thought you had to light it on fire yourself. Okay, that was worth doing. Yeah, good job, Shadowheart. They're still, you know, alive, but they're significantly less alive. That one did not have to dash, so he's probably gonna attack. Oof! So yeah, she can disengage. We'll go ahead and hit you. Level up. And I guess it reset my stuff, so I'll use my flourish on you. Which didn't kill it, but knocked some of its health off. Okay. Shadowheart can use her bonus action to heal a little. And then we are gonna... So she has this inflict wounds attack, which I like, which also misses a lot, but is really cool. Especially if you're playing a character that does necromancy or death-related stuff. There's a really cool... I'm not a druid person at all, but there's a really cool druid subclass that is all about, like, spores, and you can do, like, necromantic stuff, and if you're looking for a fun build, a half death cleric, half spore druid is really fun. And really, it's weird, but it's a lot of fun. If you've ever thought about either of those classes, highly recommend.
You fight well. Perhaps our survival isn't such a distant prospect.
Alright, so I'm skipping all of the tutorial stuff automatically, so I'm just gonna say off. Now we can level up, so I'll show what that looks like.
Let's get going.
With a handful of exceptions, your companions will all be at your level, or have enough points to get to your level, to get on your level. As you find them, there are a few in the world that you find at a set level, but those are generally higher than you. Or they have a set level, and most of the time their set level is supposed to be sort of around where you are. Like, I'm thinking of one potential companion in particular who is always level 8 when you find her, no matter what. And depending on how much XP, how much grinding and stuff you did before you reach her, she may be ahead of you. Okay, so I can take Bard level 2, which gives me another spell slot. It gives me this Jack of all trades things, which helps me do a little better on rolls, even things that I'm not proficient in. Song of Rest gives you the equivalent of a third short rest, which is very handy. But part of me is tempted to go ahead and... Do I want to add the cleric yet? No, I don't really need it. I want to for flavor reasons, but I think I'm just going to level Bard first, because that makes the most sense. And Disguise Self, I think, will be what the spell I take for now. So being a drow has its ups and downs. There are things that are going to be easier for us because we're playing a drow, and things that are going to be significantly harder. So yeah, oh no, I was about to say Shadowheart has this spell, but it's Disguise Self, not Disguise Someone else. So I'll go ahead and take it, just in case. And I can replace one of the spells I already have. I didn't use Dissonant Whispers, but mostly because I don't really have loads of spell slots. Is there anything I want? Bane would be more useful if I didn't have ADHD, because with Bane you can disadvantage, they receive a penalty on attack rolls, but you have to choose, like, unless I'm thinking of a different spell, you have to choose, like, if you're oh wait, no, Bane is just a general one. I'm thinking of a different spell where you have to choose if you're disadvantaging, like, their strength or their dexterity or whatever, and I can never be bothered. Do I want any of these? No. I think I'll keep what I have for now, because there are animals I'm going to want to talk to. And I want to be able to do that. Okay, so we've got level 2 Shadowheart. She is right now she's a cleric in the trickery domain. I think I'm going to switch her to, well, if I'm going to have at least one level of light domain cleric, I can make her a life domain cleric, which would make her like our super healer. There are a few other schools too, but now it's not the time. I can't respec yet. Let's do Bless, even though I don't always remember to use it. And now, I'm thinking, did I do my short rest? I did not.
Time to get going.
Alright, and that way, I can't remember if you get your bardic inspiration back on a short rest yet or not. It's time to do some gathering of stuff, including, there's a potion you can make with an ingredient that you get from the Intellect Devourer brains. For the sake, so one thing I like to do,
protects me.
there are environmental hazards just like scattered around, like fire, vines you can get entangled in. They're like enchanted vines you can get entangled in, traps and stuff like that. And I like to neutralize those things. So I am going to burn this. And see, Shadowheart as a half-elf comes with Firebolt, which is one of the more useful cantrips. That was not an option I had as a drow. But so it's burning, but yeah, it eventually burns out because it, unlike these ambient fires that are just kind of here, but for, you know, ambiance, and will burn you. Don't get it twisted. They will burn you. When you burn like an environmental hazard like that, it becomes harmless ash. So I like to take the time to do that. Alright. When we find food, it automatically goes to our camp supply pack here. And there are mods to automatically send camp supplies to camp so that they don't, you know, weigh you down too much, because there are carry weight limits. There are mods for weightless gold, weightless consumables, things like that. For now, I don't have them. I'm already itching to turn on the, to get the party size mod. But, okay, so we have a couple of places we can go now. Let's look at the map. A couple of paths. Let's keep going west. And see what's over there. Let's go take a dip in the water so we're not covered in blood again. You get very bloody. It's not quite Dragon Age Origins post-combat bloody, but you do get pretty bloody. Whoops. And that is a locked chest. Rather than risk my thieves' tools, I'm just going to attack it because it doesn't have high durability.
Here we go again.
There are some containers that are going to be easier than others to do this with. And this is one. A helmet and some gold. Okay, so I'm going to put the helmet on. If I haven't already, I will be hiding helmets almost always. And Shadowheart has that
Let's get on with
circlet of hers. And if I was playing with a transmog mod, God, I miss transmog already. I would make whatever helmet I put on her look like the circlet. But I haven't checked.
Will ever believe this.
But I don't think there is a transmog mod in the in-game thing. Do I have? I still don't have proficiency. That maybe would have been one reason to take a cleric level, is I would have gained proficiency in martial weapons, but we'll get there. I guess the rapier is, which is now at my hip, you'll see, because I enabled the fucking mod. I guess the rapier isn't considered a martial weapon in the same way, because people do fencing with it. There we go.
Hurry! I've got one of those brain things cornered.
Now, if you don't know...
In the grass. You can kill it, can't you? Like you killed the others?
If you were like me and didn't pay attention to Baldur's Gate 3 for the years that it was already out, you still know who the fuck Astarion is, because he was just everywhere in gaming, pop culture stuff. So yes, this is Astarion. Kill it yourself. You look capable enough.
I was hoping for a kind soul. Well, not to worry.
Let's try to roll away. So I get +3 because of my dexterity modifier and the jack of all trades. And I could also add, Shadowheart has this guidance spell, which I put on almost every one of my rolls, but let's just... Oh, okay. We didn't need it.
I saw you on the ship, strutting about whilst I was trapped in that pod. What did you and those tentacled freaks do to me?
You have it backwards. They snatched me up, too.
I'm not an idiot. I saw... Ah!
Your mind twists. You're looking out of unfamiliar eyes, prowling dark, busy streets. You try to hold the memory, but it fades to the worm. The light, the fear.
What was that? What's going on?
The Mind Flayer's worm.
The worm? Of course. That explains things, somewhat. And to think, I was ready to decorate the ground with your innards. Apologies.
Apology accepted. I might have done the same thing if the roles were reversed.
A kindred spirit.
Shadowheart approves.
My name's Astarion. I was in Baldur's Gate when those beasts snatched me.
Introduce
A
yourself.
pleasure. So, do you know anything about these worms?
They'll turn us into Mind
Turn
Flayers.
us into... Of course it'll turn me into a monster. What else did I expect? Although, it hasn't happened yet. If we can find an expert, someone that can control these things, there might still be time.
Control it. We need to get rid of it.
Well, yes, of course. But first things first.
You should travel with me.
You know, I was ready to go this alone. But maybe sticking with the herd isn't such a bad idea. And you seem like a useful person to know. All right. I accept. Lead on.
Alright, so now we get to level Astarion up.
Watch your back.
He is so useful. Despite being the person that I am, I have yet to play like a straight up rogue. I have multi-classed and taken a couple of levels of rogue, but I, much like in actual D&D, I have yet to play just like a straight up rogue, but he is very useful. I will usually have him dual wielding daggers, and he can do some very quick and devastating attacks, and he's usually at the top of the initiative order, so he often gets to go before everyone else. So Astarion stays in my party, even before I started using that party size mod, which I desperately want. I'm just thinking of how we're going to go around picking up companions and how I'm going to have to send some of them back to camp. And I'm just like, no, I want everyone. So I think if I stream more of this, I might install that. Anyway, he got some of his cunning actions, which will allow him to move more freely on the battlefield than everyone else. Oh, I do have 2 daggers, so let's get him dual wielding. If not, I was going to give him a short sword and a dagger, which I think he can wield. Maybe? Can he do a short sword? He can. Oh, because it's a finesse weapon, yeah. But the daggers just work. I have tried dual wielding other weapons in my own, with my own characters before, and the dual daggers is just very devastating. You can do a lot more damage than you would think with dual daggers. I wonder if there's something secretly in the code about like crit chance or something. I don't know. Anyway, we've got dual daggers. He is also, when you end up, so I have one hand crossbow that I had. I'm going to send it to Astarion though, because there is a dual wield feat, and it counts for the hand crossbows as well, and so you can just make him very deadly very easily.
Still alive, so that's progress.
I'm going to take this short bow instead, although I want my currently equipped weapon to always be my swords because of stuff. Basically, I haven't said, but basically, I am going to make this build is something called a sword dancer. It's not an official build in the game. Oh, there's the pig. But it's in D&D lore, and the sword dancers of Illustrae serve Illustrae, and the thing they're most famous for is these ceremonies they do, where they perform a dance with their sword. But they're also good at fighting, and I sort of want to lean into that. So we're gonna be a College of Swords bard because they get a lot of cool attacks. And unique things they can do and proficiencies and stuff like that, and we're going to take at least 1 level of cleric, maybe more depending on how stuff goes. And then there's a wizard subclass called Blade Singer that we're also going to take, and I don't usually multi-class with 3, but this is one that's worth it. Usually I like to do like dual things for tabs. I like to do like a like I said earlier, the Death Cleric and Spore Druid is cool. I have enjoyed playing a Ranger / Rogue with like no magic, but well, a little bit of, as a Ranger you get a handful of abilities, including some that eventually are magic based. But yeah, I rarely dip into 3 classes, but for this one it makes sense.
There. A mind flare. And it's hurt.
That thing's bound to be dangerous, even if injured. Best be careful.
Let's go ahead and kill it.
Monster. Death is too good for it.
You can sort of engage with it, and then it'll try to take over your brain, and if you lose... Oh, this reminds me to save. The very first time I did this, I lost the wisdom save, and it ate my brain, and I had to reload! It's not worth talking to when you can just, kill it. So that's what we did. I just am automatically going places where I know stuff is, because I have played enough of this game to do that.
Dead goblins over there. Worth checking for supplies, maybe.
True. Very true. That portal will be there. I can sell all the stuff that is useless, so I'm at least early. I'm going to.
What's going on with that room? Looks unstable somehow.
You approach the sigil on the stone. Magic glitters and swirls from it erratically, as if malfunctioning. It looks slightly dangerous.
Touch the sigil.
A hand? Anyone?
I have to. Slap the hand. I have to do it.
Ow! Perhaps I should have clarified. A helping hand. Anyone?
Alright. Let's try to quiet the sigil down, since I don't have strength on my side. And I do want this roll to go well, so... I have failed in this before, and reloaded. Okay, we're fine.
Whatever you're doing is working wonders. Now a quick little pull should do the trick. Hello. I'm Gale of Waterdeep. Apologies. I'm usually better at this.
And introductions?
At magic. Say, but I know you, don't I? In a manner of speaking. You were on the Nautiloid as well.
I was. Never mind the Nautiloid. How'd you get stuck in the stone?
I don't know what transpired exactly, but the ship broke into pieces and I suddenly found myself in freefall. As I was plummeting to certain death, I spied a glimmer quite near where I estimated my body to impact with less than savory propulsion. Recognizing this glimmer to be magical in nature, I reached out to it with a weaving of words and found myself on the other side, as it were. How about you? How did you survive the fall?
I haven't got a clue.
Fair enough. But even so, I have the unfortunate suspicion your survival is still very much in jeopardy. Back on the ship, you too were on the receiving end of a rather unwelcome insertion in the ocular region. Were you not?
Couldn't have phrased it more repellently myself.
No use sugarcoating it, is there? The insertee we speak of, this parasite? Are you aware that after a period of excruciating gestation, it will turn us into mind flayers? It's a process known as ceramorphosis, and let me assure you, it is to be avoided. You don't happen to be a cleric by any chance, do you? A doctor? Surgeon? Uncannily adroit with a knitting needle?
You seem to know enough about our condition to realize it's beyond most clerics' skills.
Most, no doubt, but I find myself hoping to be in the presence of the few. You don't happen to be one of them.
Afraid not.
As we've established, few enough can. It's not exactly a common affliction. We're most certainly going to need a healer, and soon, too. How about we lend each other a helping hand once more and look for a healer together?
Alright, join me.
Most excellent. A parasite shared is a parasite halved, or something to that effect. Oh, but before you think you're about to embark on a journey with most ill-mannered a man, thank you for pulling me out of that stone. It was an act of foresighted kindness, I assure you. For I have the feeling ample opportunities will present themselves for me to return the favor.
Alright. Let's
no
level
rest for
Gale
the
up.
wicked, I see.
So the origin characters, the companions, will often have their specialization pre-chosen, or just like, so let's go forward. It automatically sets Gale to evocation, which is sort of his thing. I'm going to keep it at that because it's actually handy, especially because he gets sculpt spells, which allows him to do AoE stuff without it affecting your allies, and that's very useful, especially with things like Thunder Wave to like push everyone back. That way you can, you know, buy everyone some time or give them some breathing room without, you know, sending them going with the Thunder Wave. So yeah, we're going to keep him at evocation. Spell-wise, we are going to give him Magic Missile. He is a wizard. So Magic Missile. I like Chromatic Orb, especially early on. I may switch that out for something else, but so it says thunder damage, but you can also choose different kinds of damage. So this basically gives him access to all of the elements right now, as opposed to being specific and choosing something like Ice Knife or Burning Hands. We can pick Chromatic Orb, and he can have access to what he needs, whatever element he needs for the time being. We're not going to do grease because Astarion has bottles of grease, and I think we'll get rid of Witch Bolts. I never remember to cast Mage Armor. I'm going to try to, maybe, but we're going to go ahead and put Magic Missile and Chromatic Orb in our prepared spells. Sleep is handy in the first few fights, so I think I'll keep that, and like I said, he also has Thunder Wave. Alright, and with 4, our party is full.
Despite everything.
Let me get a save here, just in case I change my mind. Here's the thing. I miss everyone. We haven't even found all of them, and I miss them. I am going to install... In fact, I will do it right here on stream, since we're getting to the end. I am going to install the party size mod. And as I think in acknowledgement of that, I will up the difficulty, because I'm thinking about, I don't know that I can go back to playing without having everyone around. So we will subscribe to that, and it automatically. See, I thought all the other mods had automatically enabled, and that's why, or that's my excuse anyway. There are also a few others that are worth getting. Like, we could see in that last bit we did, that Gale's beard looked weird, and that is a bug that Larian has yet to fix. I'm not gonna get the updo for his hair, not yet. It makes him too charming. We'll fix his beard though. And I may install some more quality of life stuff. I did really enjoy this. I think we'll camp once. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, party size limit and Gale's beard. I think we'll go to camp, and then I'll call the stream there. And in between, I will figure out what mods I really can't live without. And get everyone's clothes situated. I would really like some less ugly armor, but it's going to be a bit. Besides buying it, which we haven't found a vendor yet, but besides buying it, you have to, you know, scavenge your armor. And there's unique stuff scattered around, but the really good stuff isn't really available that early. Certainly not in Act 1. And there's one piece of armor that if we had played as the Dark Urge, like I was originally thinking, we would have potentially been able to get, but it's off limits to us now, unfortunately. Okay. So this, I will say, I'm not going to be like super in depth with the mods, but this adjustable party size limit mod is really well implemented. Let me just go through and you'll see. It's a toggle thing. So Basically, it's treated like a spell. You have toggle party size limits, and then it's got like lots of stuff that we don't really need to get into here. But what you do is you, like a spell, increase the party limit. It's 5 now. I'm trying to think. If 6... I think I probably want to go to 7. Just thinking of stuff coming later. So that's set it to 7, and now to confirm it, apply. Okay. It's being applied. Please wait. Like, they didn't have to do this. They didn't have to integrate it so well with the UI and everything, but they did. All right. So now we can just add up to, we can have up to 7 people without any more intervention. Now the only other thing about it is let's go to our long rest, because I did say I wanted to go to camp. They even worked around what would have been a pretty major bug. So if you have more than 4 people in your party and you try to long rest, it can like it can make your game blow up basically. So there's a toggle that pops up. It's not here now because I only have 4, but you if I keep playing this, we'll see it plenty, I'm sure. But basically, you can toggle your full party off, then have your long rest, and then toggle them back on, so you don't have to manually add everybody back in. It's just it's really well done, and not, you know, not everyone goes to that unnecessary trouble with their mods the way that this person did, and I think that's very cool of them. So yeah, you have camp clothes. You have your armor and your camp clothes, and obviously we want something better than this. So that one mod I had installed should have all of the camp clothes available in the game in here now. Okay, this was the dye I got for free. Origin clothes, so this will be all the Origin characters' clothes. Camp clothes, underwear and shoes, and more dyes. Let's just take the camp clothes. Can I not do that? Ah, too heavy. Okay. I won't mess with this. Like I said, we were just gonna go to camp, have our long rest, and then I would do this off stream. So you also have these camp events where a companion will want to talk to you. And before you long rest, it'll tell you, sometimes it'll just say, you know, do you want to long rest even though a companion wants to talk to you? And sometimes it won't let you. Sometimes you have to do it. So let's talk to Gale.
Go to hell.
And good evening to you too.
Ha! You're a good sport. Go to hell. An everyday expression. So trivial it's almost meaningless. But we've seen hell. It's real. And it isn't trivial.
You sound a tad more dejected than when we first met.
Merely contemplating. Devils, dragons, mind flayers. They used to be abstracts. Pictures on a piece of paper. What a difference a day makes. Now we have tadpoles slithering through our heads like carnivorous feti. That's not abstract.
What can I say but that you're right?
Point well made. I see. I'll wake you bright and early. We'll need to find a healer before the wee one gets hungry.
Oh, Gale. Who has his own campsite. I'm not sure why he's standing around the central fire. He has his own tent. We don't get a tent, but he has one. Oh, and now Shadowheart wants to talk. Okay. I'm trying to end a stream, Shadowheart.
What were you two talking about?
What do you mean?
You and Gale.
We were just discussing the next steps.
I see. I'd be careful with Gale.
You don't trust him? If anyone has me concerned, it's you. You haven't exactly been open.
I have my reasons. They're nothing for you to be concerned about. Either way, be careful. You never know what lengths someone might take to solve this little problem of ours. You seem reliable. I think you know how important it is that we find someone who can cure us. Best if we focus on that.
So why are you trying to stir shit up? I'm just kidding. I love Shadowheart. Okay. Sooner we find someone to help us, the better.
We might even get lucky and find one right away. As I see it, we're overdue some good fortune. Rest well.
Alright. And Astarion, thankfully, does not need to talk my ear off, so we'll do our long rest, which requires camp supplies. You have these supply packs which automatically fill the 40, and you'll pick up food across the world, and you can just auto-select it, and it'll do it like that too. But, I was trying to use camp supplies. There we go.
Dark is familiar, but not comforting. It is a struggle to sink into your trance, weaving together memory, ambition, and purpose. You picture a cup, ancient and elven, priceless. Drinking from it honors the dead, those lost to Lolth's predation. Fire spills across your thoughts, dragon's breath. The tadpole slithers, twisting deeper into your skull. Your head is about to burst. The memory consumes your mind, corrupting the trance.
Let's see, you've walked your dreams countless times before. This memory will pass. Refuse to break. Anything can be endured. The trance, what she's talking about, the trance, is that, like, elven ancestry characters, at least, I think maybe not half elves, but drow and other full elves don't sleep. They go into, like, a very deep trance instead, and that's what she means. I'm gonna lean into the drow of it all. Let the pain claim you.
Hell surrounds you, flames licking at your body. The tadpole in your head convulses. Agony bursts behind your eyes, and the whole world goes dark.
So I've never gotten that before. Thing about this game is there are people who have played 1,000 hours who will find something new. And I've never seen that particular... I've never had that thing about the tadpole not liking our trance before. Which is cool. You're always going to have new stuff happen. But sometimes you sleep through the night uneventfully, and sometimes there's like there's something like that happens. But anyway, I said I was going to get us long rested into camp. Now all of our spell slots are back. And we have all of our abilities again. But I still have gone almost to 3:30, even though I started before 1:30. But that's okay. I am glad I did this. I've been feeling like I wanted to stream again more regularly. And I had a couple of games in mind, but when I woke up this morning, I was like, this is the one. So here we are. I will probably stream more of this, maybe even later today. I don't know. I'm going to see what kind of mood I'm in. This is a game you can get sucked very into and just play like hours and hours and hours of. So maybe I will see you again later today. If not, I will see you next time, whenever that is. And thank you for joining me.